PlayStation has long been known as a central hub for immersive and emotionally engaging storytelling. The PS4 generation in particular was a launching point for a new age of PlayStation icons with thrilling new worlds and instantly lovable characters. While every generation takes its time to get things up and running, the PS5 does have its own assortment of single-player experiences that make upgrading to the shiny new console so worth it. Whether you are looking to beef up that library with some solid single-player games, or you're just checking to see if your favourites made the cut, know that we've accrued a list of the best single-player games available right now on PlayStation 5 that have been picked and ranked by the Push Square community over on the website. Again, as a PS5 list, this does mean that any of the titles here have to be playable natively on PS5, so if they haven't had that full PS5 treatment, you won't find it here. With that said, let's find out what the top 10 best single player games are on PS5. The never-ending wait for Elden Ring was more than worth it, delivering one of the most intriguing yet esoteric stories that the Soulsborne creators had conjured up yet. Like other entries in the Dark Souls series, the story isn't outright told through cinematics, but it is there for you to discover as you dig deeper into the lands between. And with its more aimless approach, players can really explore those lands however they wish, soaking up the lore, design and fantastic enemies within its world at whichever pace they prefer. If you're looking for a game that can entertain you for hours on end, then Elden Ring is the one for you. After the fantastically comic story of Spider-Man on PS4, Miles Morales aimed to give us a different view on the web-coated city of New York. This time from the perspective of the youngster Miles Morales, who's stepping into the shoes of Spidey while the OG takes a well-needed break. It was refreshing to experience the city from the eyes of a character that isn't all too confident in his abilities as a superhero while gradually coming into his own. Miles Morales also puts a firmer focus on family, which lies at the heart of this game's conflict, leading to some really interesting narrative moments. And in between all your story, you of course get that first-class swinging mechanic, this time brought to you with Miles' own flair. Returnal acts out that perfect 1-2 punch of a narrative that draws you in and gameplay that hooks you. Crash landing on the mysteriously grim planet of Atropos, astronaut Celine must find her way back home. However, she soon finds that she is stuck in a never-ending loop, as marked by her own corpses littered across the landscape. Returnal keeps you on your toes with roguelike aspects, white-knuckle gameplay, stunning use of PS5 loading times, and high-rendering particle effects that'll have your eyes wired and your mouse agape with some truly impressive boss fights. This is one you'll come back to again and again and again and again and again. For those looking for that more traditional Soulsborne experience, you couldn't really do much better than the one that started it all. Demon's Souls is a cracking showcase of how far we've come graphically, with some impossibly detailed environments and wickedly fast load times. This only goes to amplify the enemy designs within Demon's Souls, making for a far more immersive experience, and thanks to some cracking haptic feedback, you'll feel every sword slash, bowstring pulled and spell cast. Much like Elden Ring, Demon's Souls is home to some impeccable environmental storytelling across each of its worlds, which give you plenty of opportunity to steep yourself in haunting, awe-inspiring and intriguing settings. A lot of the time, games like to reel us into the doom and gloom of post-apocalypses, hostile invasions, and yada yada yada. But sometimes, with a dash of colour, some impressive art styles, and fun storylines, they can be light-hearted forms of escapism. And that is where Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart steps in. This blast from the past brought the iconic PlayStation duo back into the mainstream, and not only that, gave players a bona fide reason to pick up the PS5. However, besides the reams of nostalgia and next-gen tech, Ratchet & Clank is just a lovable, colourful and wholesome adventure through dimensions. ASTRO'S Playroom isn't your typical entry here. It isn't some cinematic story or thrill-seeking shooter. It's a cutesy trip down memory lane for all things PlayStation, and what a trip that is. This is a nice museum platformer of sorts for anyone landing in the plains of PlayStation for the first time, but for those of you out there that have been around for a while, it is utterly jam-packed full of gaming-fueled nostalgia. Running through each of the generations, ASTRO'S Playroom is a showcase of everything from PlayStation icons to 8MB memory cards, all stitched together with some fun platforming. It won't take up much of your time, but it sure will stick with you. The Uncharted series has long been a staple of PlayStation, sending eager gamers off on supernaturally fused explosive adventures with everyone's favourite smart-talking, neck-snapping treasure hunter. The series has been known for its boyish awesomeness for years, but Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, in its smaller spin-off installment The Lost Legacy, elevated it all by melding that high-octane action with intimate character moments. There are certainly small influences felt from The Last of Us here, where Uncharted's smallest details and moments could speak just as loudly as its 20-minute car chases. Following Nathan Drake on his final adventure or spending some time with the criminally underrated Nadine and Chloe make for some excellent escapism that will showcase the power of PlayStation in this double bill remaster. You can become the action star of your own adventure movie and revel in the classic tale of high-stakes treasure hunting. How do you one-up the game that introduced a post-apocalypse filled with ancient ruins of modern cities and sentient robotic dinosaurs? Maybe you add a touch of graphical power, expand upon the game's central mechanics, and go full balls-to-the-wall sci-fi as if the original wasn't already enough, and you've got Horizon Forbidden West. This game somehow makes this robo-dino world all the more enchanting by taking us to the west coast of a long-crumbled America. Whether you're observing and battling the various tribes, trembling at the thought of taking on a Tremor Tusk, or ushering Aloy through a world that now views her in a different light, Horizon Forbidden West is the perfect mixture of world, gameplay and story that'll have you struggling to leave it all behind. Expectations were pretty high for Spider-Man back in the day, and how could they not be with the enormous shadow of Spider-Man 2 on PS2 lurking over it? But how Insomniac Games managed to exceed every single one of those expectations to deliver not just the best Spider-Man game, but the best Spider-Man story is beyond me. The swinging mechanic is here, the villains are definitely here, and the emotional heart is bringing out those tears. Then just amplify the whole thing with a full PS5 remaster, and you have yourself a fun and focused open world experience that'll have you fighting crime, pulling off insane dive bombs, and immersing yourself in the double life of Peter Parker with a giant smile on your face. If you're wanting a bit of alone time and a digital world to lose yourself in, you aren't going to do much better than Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. While on the surface, Ghost might seem like another open world checklist with camps to conquer, hidden collectibles to root out, and characters to level up, it is the story and art style here that make it all worth it. Bask in the colour of the island of Tsushima with leaves falling, wind blowing, and sunsets ensuring you get the most out of that photo mode. However, watching Jin Sakai bend the code of an honourable samurai in the hopes of saving his island is where the real entertainment lies. Will he lose his way and truly become the Ghost of Tsushima, or stay true to the morals set by his ruling uncle? It is a delight to experience it, and the Push Square community clearly thought so as well, as Ghost of Tsushima is your #1 voted best single player game on PS5. So that's all this list has to offer. Let us know down below what you think of this collection and which missing games you would have loved to have seen crop up as well. While you're here though, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for all things PlayStation. Here on Push Square we cover reviews, top 10s, news, gameplay previews, and we love to get a conversation going with some topical PlayStation debates. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.